Welcome, everyone. This is Polly Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Querendus.
Hello, everyone.
Calabathian.
Yes, let me unmute myself.
And Krister.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. And it's good to see everyone is now unmuted and ready to start with this week's news. Where we had a small patch this week, update 31.0.1, which is pretty much the let's fix the bugs that we've already found in Gutenabod fix.
And introduce a few more.
Well, there's always that little detail. Let's see what they fixed on Thursday, November 18th. First off, they released 2 new instances for the Fate of Gutenabod. These are 2 new instances that are designed for small fellowships, though of course they have the usual thing with recent small fellowship quests, and that there's also a solo version that you can play, so it could be played with 1 to 3 players. They have the attack on Thurstroke and the Den of Puklok.
Gesundheit.
And this is available for levels 130 through 140.
Lies, because they've, as we'll soon see, one of those has promptly been closed.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. Anyway, now, they also say to encounter assault at Thurstroke, talk to Shurkas at Oslif in Deepsgrave. I should note that I believe that this is for some sort of quest that's associated with the instance and has nothing actually to do with getting access to the instance. In order to get access to the instance, you have to discover the portal to it, which I wound up having to go online in order to find because I had to...
On the catwalk.
Yeah, I had. Yeah, that's right. I had to go
the little
to the
instance
camp.
on the catwalk.
Right. So I had to go to the nearest stable location, go into there, then find my way to an elevator, take the elevator to the catwalk, and then from the catwalk get into the place. But now I have it discovered at least. But yes, the cat. I don't know. I presume there is another way to the catwalk other than the elevators, or are the elevators the only way to get there?
No, that's it.
I thought it was the only way.
Yeah, so that means that we're going to need to learn how to find the elevators. I think those dwarves need to put up signs on how to get to the elevators, because I don't hard time finding that.
It's right there in the middle of the pit. You just got to keep finding a walkway that'll get to it. Thing I don't like about it is when you get to the ground floor, there's almost always a welcoming committee.
Well, I didn't get to the ground floor any. I got there from the dwarf camp that's nearby, and eventually I found a path that I guess must have been the top floor of the elevator or something like that, and take that to the catwalk level. I don't know what those other locations are.
I'm going to be mad if they don't have smooth jazz as the music for the elevator.
Well, I just was going to say that Mike said Fred was sung by more than one then, obviously, when we got to the catwalk, because that's exactly what I started singing. Great minds think alike.
Yes. Anyway, so you have to actually do the discovery deed in order to be able to unlock this. And I guess Shukers didn't have a quest for me, so I presume I would have had to have done some quest in order to unlock.
Yeah, there's a quest chain before that.
Right, but you don't have to do the quest chain in order to do the instance. And the second quest is called the Den of Puklok, and there they say to talk to Orty at Watcher's Roost in Bloomington. I have not been to Watcher's Roost. I have not found a discovery like, and who cares, because it's the instance closed the next day in any case.
Now, Pine, I have a question, actually.
Yeah?
Were you able to get a deed completion on, like, say, a tier 1 of assault at Durstock? Did you try doing that?
I think I got a tier. I didn't. I did not see what kind of deed I unlocked at the end of the instance. So.
Well, because there are issues with it, but we should go through these notes first. But
yeah, okay, we can talk about that afterwards. But anyway, let's go into the news and notes for other things that are updated in this particular update. First of all, coffers of Traveler's Gear can now be used up through character level 130. Virtue XP rewards have been removed from cap level 130 repeatable quests. Basically, I presume that they've been moved to the 140 repeatable quests. The Gundabad weekly quest, Reclaiming the Mountain Hold weekly, and Challenges of Gundabad weekly will now award Virtue XP. Well, I guess that answers that question. On a mission weekly and on a continuing mission weekly, when started at level cap 140, will now correctly award embers rather than motes. I would presume the cap
mission, on a continuing mission, and then at some point we'll probably have, we're still on a mission.
No. Fortunately, those are the on a mission is the do 15 mission weekly quest, and on a continuing mission is the do 45 missions in a week quest. The new instances have the following chest rules for the 3-player ones: 5 favored pools per week on each tier 1 through tier 3 chest, 1 weekly pool for tier 4 and tier 5 chests. Right? And for the 6-player instances, it says 3 favored pools per week on each tier 1 through tier 3 chests, 1 weekly pool for tier 4 and tier 5, but that's sort of irrelevant since there aren't any 6-person instances that are opened yet. But I guess they're telling us what the rules are going to be for when they do open up. As for quests and adventure areas, for Chapter 5.1 Minimasters is now an on-ramp to Legacy of Durin and the Trials for the Dwarves. I would presume, Calabathian, unless you've managed to do the rest of the Legacy of Durin already, I presume you're happy that on-ramp is there now.
Yes, we were just mentioning that, I think, last week, that there wasn't an on-ramp, and now there is. So that'll be cool. Although I have to admit, I thought you said Mini, M-I-N-I masters, and I was like, well, I guess they are dwarves, but anyway. Manny, okay. Continue.
Yes, right. And it is still recommended that you play Legacy of Durin chapters 1 through 4, but that's no longer required. In other words, if you want to know what the story is before they get into Gundabad. Various fixes have been made to the Karbronach quest, A Flight to Ramachkoth. The corrected an issue where some of the spawns in and around the Drear Spire were not properly spawning.
So
the quest
a car to Grumakoth? No, because it's a flight to Grumakoth. So we're taking a car to the airport and getting a flight to Grumakoth. Okay, I get it.
But now, what do they mean by improperly spawning as well? Because that could mean that they weren't spawning at all, or that once you kill them, they instantly spawned.
I guess we'll find out if we're ever in that area. Actually, we won't find out because they corrected it. The quest,
like
Raiders...
reproductive problem.
Yes.
The
quest, Raiders in Madugard, can now be completed. If you had the quest underway, you will need to talk to Losi again to start the quest. And the quest's Gundabad missions now counts for on a mission and on a continuing mission quest. Yes, I have noticed that this week. Ever since the patch, they have been counting for that. That's good. On a mission weekly and on a continuing mission weekly now bestow correctly for levels 130 through 139 characters.
Yay! It would be continuing a mission after continuing a mission.
Starting on a mission weekly and on a continuing mission weekly awards embers rather than... Oh, did they already say that? They sort of repeated themselves on there a little bit. Fires won't continuously burn once you interact with the piles in the quest of Horos Beasts at Bay. Well, I'll tell you right now, though, that is a quest that I had I found that quest such a bother. I just said, no, I didn't bother finishing that quest. And also, when I got offered the quest, when I had another character going in through, I just ignored it. And I said, no, decline, 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 decline. I didn't like that one.
Fires won't continuously burn, but Pine Leaf decided, he wanted to burn it all
not to start the
down.
files in the first place.
We didn't start the fire. Pine didn't start the fire this time. always been burning since the world's been turning.
All right. Yes, let's get that. Players being revived in certain parts of Borkaroth in pits of stone jaws will no longer be booted from the space.
How
That's
nice
good.
Of them. Yeah.
Players can now leave to the expected location from the secret stairs in Welkinlofts. The Death of Scoth dungeon no longer warns and kicks players out. Well, that's good. The quests, Hetbruda and Varthmoth, are now properly phased out at Meyergreen. The blackouts have been adjusted during the Legacy of Durin and the Trials of the Dwarves 9.2, the divided loyalties of Glurkob, the Goblin, parts 2 and 5, so that they will more reliably be removed. That's good to hear. I heard a lot of weird complaints about that one. The second,
people like, what do you mean blackouts?
it's when
It's dwarves. They drink a lot.
I know. I was like, hold up. Are we talking like they passed out? I mean, because...
No, there are certain times when you're doing a quest where they will black out the screen for a little while and then come back in after you're in another place. I don't know the story behind so I don't know what's causing the blackout. Sometimes it's if you either pass out or some other thing can cause a blackout to happen. And
apparently,
supposed
if
to,
we're
of course,
dealing with goblins, if we're dealing with goblins, we've seen how they drink, and that goblin ale stuff is horrible. And I'm saying, I think I know exactly why you guys are blacking out.
Well, we'll find out when we get to 9.2, I guess. The second part of the 9.2 session has been made more reliable. If you were not given anything to click on, standing in the middle of the chamber for 25 seconds will advance the quest. Corrected some Z fighting issues in Gundabad. A stuck spot in Thomazog has been fixed. Terrain showing through the entrance of Oil Olivas has been fixed. A few
Oil of Olivas. Oil of Olay. Okay, anyway.
A few floating assets in Mudagard have been grounded. Players will no longer fall through some sections of the eastern catwalks and ruins of Deep's Graves. Well,
that is so good because I actually ran into that one.
Oh, no.
And more people are going to be on the catwalks now that they're trying to find that discovery deed site.
I just almost
This wasn't
about.
I don't think this was the discovery deed site. It was just it was a tear down, but they're kind of like catwalks. There's no rails on one side, and you think you can duck around behind. We were actually looking for, I think, a treasure chest. The up and down issues. You're kind of like, So I kind of thought I'll go around the backside here and see if it goes around or not. And all of a sudden, I'm falling.
Oops.
And I hit something. I'm like, oh, and then I kept falling, and then I died.
Well, yeah, that's Gundabad for you.
I was like, wait, are we in Gundabad or are we in Moria?
We're in Gundabad. It's even worse up and down than
Yes. Moria. I think that there are sometimes I wish that we had feather falling boots in this game.
Honestly, I was fixing
flying mounts.
Some kind of crack about the first episode of the Wheel of Time series, but I'll just refrain and let you continue.
Yeah, probably, because that probably will contain a few spoilers for.
Probably will also contain lots of my cussing, but continue.
Well, yes, sir. Let's avoid that too.
Because I'm trying to remain pinely friendly.
Yes. The Goonabad Mission Stables destination will now be available, automatically discovered upon interacting with any of the other mission stable masters. That's good. And just remember, it's when you interact with one of those mission stable masters, because the first stable master I checked on my Langeville version of Pine Leaf to see whether or not I could get to the proper location was the one at my house, which of course I hadn't interacted with one of the mission stable masters at that time, so it wasn't marked as discovered, so I wound up going to Trestlebridge in order to get there. But yeah, so make sure you go to one of the mission stable destination places in order to get there. But that means then you don't have to spend Mithril anymore in order to reach there. And you could also use the mission stable as a back door into Goonabad if you don't finish 5.1 and 5.2, because there's a direct connection to one of the stable locations through a door that's at that location. So I'm wondering what happens if you do that when you are at horrendously low level. Do you get a warning message, or do you have the usual saying where, okay, just don't walk too far from camp or you'll wind up being orc food?
Nom, 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 nom.
You kind of hope like it would be like when it was the old elven forest after you got out of Moria, where you just walk too far in and die.
Sorry, we don't know you.
Oh yes, the joys of being too near to Lothlorien before you have any rep with them. Hobbit housing now supports floor texture and color items once again. Isn't that nice?
Those poor hobbits. People keep taking their floors.
No, that's deplorable.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that was painful.
The doors to Zudramadan and Shekalistrad in Elderslate now allow passage once again. An orc stuck inside physics in Fickle Gundul has been freed.
The orc named Brittany?
The following quest.
I'm happy that she got free of all that stuff. That was horrible, but I had to say it.
The following quests are now repeatable: mining for crystals, searching for diamonds, searching for gold, searching for sapphires, searching for treasure, and the Stone Smashers. I presume that those are all the high-end find gem instead of flower quests that they seem to have added.
Well, the Geode Hunter is the one where you go around picking up rocks, and that's not one of them. That's just you have to talk to somebody, and they tell you, "Look at these," and we have to assess them again, and then you just go around picking up rocks like you did flowers in North Athelia.
Yes.
But that's different.
Yeah, I notice I have seen these rocks all over the place, but of course I can't pick them up yet since I don't have the quest. So,
Steep Set has a guy that's a Geode Hunter, and that's where you get it to start it.
Right. Okay, and
So
of course,
you,
Steep Set. I should know how to get the Steep Set, considering that's one that's connected to the Jaruka location.
Yes,
I was going to say,
just outside of there.
If you grab the stones and all this other stuff and it's a dud, can you actually sell those as like pet rocks? Is that where this is going?
No, unfortunately they go in your permanent wallet, so no peddling pet rocks in Gundabad.
Dang, because I was banking on some googly eyes for that specific purpose. I was going to put the googly eyes on the rocks, and if this is Bert And that's sell Bert to people. It's the best pet in the world. You don't have to feed it. You don't have to clean it. You don't have to clean up after it. It's a pet rock.
Yes. The help page should load properly once again. The quest Awakening and the conclusion of the story of Glooming Tarn is now available to experience. If you have finished the existing storyline in Glooming Tarn, return to Hermot's Stormhammer at Watcher's Roost. Also, there are a couple of known issues. First off, The Legacy of Durin Chapter 5.6, High Seat of the Doors, and Chapter 6.6, The Fine Print, award 1,000 virtue experience each. Currently, this award is incorrectly displaying a second time on the Quest Rewards UI under Choose One Rewards list.
Oh, Lord. Those 12 steps to a Dwarven War. Anytime you have something called the fine print.
And as for a quest, the Overturned Vineyards and Clothing Gap Mistwalkers, when in a fellowship, these quests only advance for the first player to hit the tripwire. Other players in the fellowship will need to cancel and accept the quests again. You're kidding me. Well, that's a bad one.
Yes, they're going to need to have that fixed up like yesterday.
Well, actually, I think they're scheduling to.
There's some other things they got to fix
on the 23rd. Yes, but yes. Also, as mentioned earlier, the Den of Puklak is temporarily closed, and that's because there was a teleportation issue with that, and doing all sorts of weird stuff, and it's something that if you got into that state, it pretty much leave you infinitely bouncing back and forth to places, how I've heard it described, though I have not done that instance or discovered it or anything like that. So I can only hope that they will have that fixed soon.
No, that sounds kind of fun. Just be sitting there. It's like, I'm going to go have dinner and just let this bounce around forever and come back an hour later and you're still bouncing around back and forth in between places. It's like, are you not tired yet, game? Code, have you not broken further and just crashed out? No? Okay. Still, though, bouncing around, that sounds kind of fun.
Yes. Now, there was also, during the discussion on the forums, there was a note concerning Reforging, and I know many people are now expecting there to be a Reforge every 5 levels because...
Psych!
Yes, it looks like that when you have a new level cap opened, there will not be a Reforging in the middle of that level cap range because they are going to be slowly opening up the ranges. If you noticed that when you're at 130, when you're at 131 and you reforge, notice that the max is 465, I think it was. And
that
instead of right, and when you get to and as we go up, we're just going to have that as our cap for a while. And I have a feeling that when they bring out the 6-player instances is when they are going to have that maybe increase. Because when they usually increase the eye levels of armor, I have a feeling it's going to be when they're going to be increasing the max eye level that you're going to get for your legendary item. At least that's my guess on the matter. So that means when the raid comes out, it's probably when tier 5 of the raid comes out is when they're going to pump it up so that you get up to 499 maybe. But we'll have to see what it brings in the future. But the note is then that don't expect there to be a 136 reforging because there isn't. And that is intentional for the time being. The Fate of Gunabad Ultimate Edition delivery. where they're going to be sending the people who directly ordered the Fate of Gunabad Ultimate Edition to send them an extra Valar. That is currently scheduled for update 31.0.2. 31.0.2 was originally not scheduled for next week, but because of a certain instance we've already talked about, they know they got to fix that before Thanksgiving. So is it going to be 31?
I'm hoping that they fix the other 3 man also, because the reason I'd asked you about that is if you accept the quest from that orc, go up to the entrance and go ahead and do the instance at the end of it, which no spoilers on what's going on, but your NPC that went with you says, "Oh, we need to get back to Aislif," and if you leave instance, it'll say completed tier 1. When you leave, mine doesn't indicate that I finished the tier 1, for the deed, and it will not complete the landscape given quest. And that's why I was asking you if you tried it, if you had it actually complete, and I wondered if the deed had completed because you didn't have the quest. I did have the landscape quest, so I'm going, okay. It's busticated. It's and it's fixed too.
Right. I did hear something about the quest not working, which is why I didn't really care about the fact that I couldn't get the quest in the first place.
Understandable.
And because I figured if that's not working right, then but I have a feeling they are going to be planning on fixing it then. But right now, the first priority that they have is making sure that they get Den working properly. And they have the Ultimate Edition thing that's already scheduled to be in there. I think there are 1 or 2 other bugs that they said that got checked in after that missed the deadline for Thursday's patch. They're also going to be into this. So this will have a few bug fixes. Now we hope that also it includes the fix that they have concerning the quest that Guaranus was just talking about, so that everybody would be happy for Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
Right. And we also have an announcement that was done. Scenario was doing his casual stroll series in there, and he was going through the housing areas, and he gave us a little sneak peek to the next housing area, which is going to be in Erebor. So it's a new dwarven housing area.
It's gorgeous. Krister, did you catch the Twitch stream at all?
I did not, no.
Did you hear about it?
No, so how's it looking?
It's in one of Smog's treasure holds, and there's gold on the floor, but you can swim in it. Like Scrooge McDuck, as Scenario said.
Yes, it's rather strange. Apparently, Smog just had so much gold and all these hoards that they still haven't had time to clean it all up. And so, where are we going to put this? Oh, we'll just leave it here and build some houses here.
We know where it is,
we know it. Here it is. So we might as well swim in the gold while we're waiting for the bean counters to decide to start picking up the gold.
I think Morkendeer just had a heart attack and died of joy in my head. He's from that area. His family is still in that area, and it's like, what? I can have a house that I can swim inside gold in?
I greatly suggest that people go to either Twitch or to YouTube and check out I think it was at about the 50-minute mark. It was like right towards the end. He went over a bit, but he went in there. It is amazing. And it's very green. The stone is emerald in there.
Oh, very cool. Green and gold? That sounds like a good combo right there.
It was very striking, yes.
Oh, well, there's one of the houses that was built inside of a geode, so.
Ooh, that's cool.
It's like the entryway to the door. It's just all like a tunnel.
So that's why we're collecting all the rocks. Slowly, all those are slowly accumulated into these prefabricated geodesics, right? So.
Exactly.
Yes. So that is expected to come out. I think they said something like 31.2 is how they're currently scheduling it, assuming that nothing unexpected happens. And if my calculations are right, that'll be somewhere around in January. So we'll have to see about that. So let's head into our LOTRO beacon for this week. This is issue 227, where we have somebody fighting. Looks like a an amethyst warg.
Well, we've had poodle wargs. Why don't we have some that are gem encrusted?
Okay.
I have not met them yet.
Actually, I think I have met them. I'm trying to think where I met those things. And did I meet them along a road somewhere? Or because I don't think there are any missions that feature them. What is it? Let's see. Let's then head into the community spotlight, where Fibro Jedi has updated his Lone Land Slayer Deeds map and guide, and you see that on Fibro Jedi's blog.
Pause a moment. I will note as well that that picture just reminded me. I think if it might still be going on over on ESO. There is like a mount right now that the purple and gem stuff. It's like a mount. Yeah, the opaline. And so I'm looking at this going, dude, what does that oh, okay, that's what that reminds me of. But it's not. It's completely like crystal. It's not like a warg with crystals on it. It's a horse-looking thing that's completely made out of gemstone, but it's a purpley kind of dark color. Just FYI, if anyone hasn't noticed it yet. So yeah, I mean, I'm like, well, that's kind of, I don't know. I wouldn't say ironic, but yeah, it's coincidental. But that's kind of nifty that they both came out pretty much around the same time. Anyway, continue.
And let's continue then. Gons on Twitter has created Explorer's Guides for Carbronoch, Deep Scrave, Bodyguard, and the Pit of Stonejaws. And Agent Brigman has created a real-life midsummer honeycomb cake, and you read the recipe on the Clearly Delicious blog and watch the live stream of the effort on Twitch. All right, honeycomb cake, the Lord of the... Okay.
Actually, it looked really good.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds really good.
Well, and she found a cake mold. It looked like the honeycomb cake with the... Yes. Yeah, it was amazing.
Well, that does help to bring it out a little bit. And for our concert calendar, let's see, The Hope celebrates 10 years at the November Oaks, and that was today on Laurelland. But you can check them out on the LOTRO Artist website to see if they have a link to that stream. And the Indigo Hobbits presents Jammin' in the Shire, but that was this Saturday on Crick Hollow. Let's then head into the Kin Hall. The Better Biscuits Bureau is looking for new members on Treebeard. Watch their new video and learn more about them.
That name just gives me such joy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, now for the weekly comment. I personally think this comment is coming out a couple of weeks early because the question is, what is your favorite new region in Gundabad?
Yeah, I haven't quested them all yet to be able to answer. Although I have seen peaks here and there when people were going on Bull Roar, and I'm really looking forward to getting to Cloven Gap. But I can't say it's my favorite one because I haven't quested it yet.
Yeah, out of the places I've seen so far, and now of course I cannot remember the name of it, but we arrived there last night, and it almost looked like the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland.
Glubbing Tarn.
Was that what it was? Okay, yeah. And that place really struck me. I really thought that was extremely beautiful. I love the still waters and the reflections and everything.
The Giant's Causeway, though, it's nowhere near the sea.
Well, okay, that might be a major difference between the two formations. You're right, but in terms of the hexagonal stones, that was kind of
okay, the hexagonal stones in there. All right,
yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll just say that my favorite place does not feature a need to go up and down several elevators.
Hi, Leaf, you know you're just sitting in that elevator hitting the button going up and down all day like a child.
Well, I feel like right now my favorite place has been the missions hall for the Jaruka, because that's where I've been spending a lot of time.
My favorite new region in Gundabad has to be all the places I haven't gone yet.
I thought you haven't gotten inside yet.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think that you ran into the Jaruka mission hall or anything like that.
Nope.
Well then, let's head to the fan site news, where last week we talked about how Gundabad was Gunda good. And over on YouTube, Louis7 offers thoughts about his experience with Gundabad so far. Laurel Dagnier tells you how to find the green crystal in pits of stone jaws. And Kara Cavalorn Gaming has the final episode about how to get the Shire Brewmaster title. Also on LOTRO Stream is your first stop to find LOTRO on Twitch, where this week Eldalet adventured in Gundabad. Red Baron played a champion on Evernight. Andrew's Fire headed into the Northern Mirkwood on Alnor. Also on Twitch, Poteen continued playing every single class. Ideale Valathorn conducted a charity for diabetes research, and Stina continued her adventures in Gundabad. The Fundrenflug blog attends a concert, and you read about...
It was Funkenflug. I was like, funky.
You can read about this German language blog at the link. Deco de Malo has the light from Gundabad, and you can see the new housing item in their blog. Fibro Jedi has updated his fan fiction section. Check that out on his blog. Laurel's Den has further updated their Gundabad guide, and you read it over on Laurel's Den's blog. And Mina said the Once Tower of the Moon is a new poem on LOTRO Player, so we'll be talking about that later. And in fact, we actually have 2 poems of that. And that's it for our fan site news. So let's look into the screenshot of the week, where LOTRO Screens on Twitter brings us this week's screenshot of the week with a toad in Rosgobel.
Okay, that's a toad. I thought it was like an octopus head or something, a squid. Okay, and that's an arm, a leg, or something. Okay. Because for a minute there, I was like, what is an octopus doing in this water? Where are we at? Did I miss something?
Well, who knows what goes on in Rosgobel, right?
I don't know if Radagast the Brown is anywhere near Rosgobel, then that is a seriously legitimate question.
Well, seeing how Rosgobel is Radagast's house,
then that's a seriously legitimate question. Okay. What in the world's going on here in Rosgobel?
And you can submit your screenshot for consideration by emailing it to lotro@sandstonegames.com. And that's it for this week's Beacon. But you also have a note, though, that Winterstock 9 has started up their band signups. So you could check on the link in our show notes in order if you have a band that's interested in playing in Winterstock 9. Now let's head into our sales for this week. And Guarendis, could you please read the sales?
Well, LOTRO Bonus Days is currently going on through the weekend until server reset Sunday into Monday. 10% Virtue XP. And for those of us who are working in-game, that's a good thing because the Virtue cap did get raised to 80. So go and quest. Black Friday sales are going to begin next week. Says stay tuned for more information about next week's deep discounts. It might not go live until later, but Cord did say on the stream on Friday that he thought that there's always an outside chance that it might be Wednesday, so keep your eyes peeled for those. And this week it's 30% off on vault storage and shared storage and inventory slots, and also the currency cap lift can be purchased for those of you who are premium players. The coupon code is 5% attack damage boost scroll for 90 minutes, and that's with the coupon code more stabs. Now through Thanksgiving. I would be surprised if we get a new one next week on Thanksgiving, so it might go a little bit longer. So
yes, it might go a little bit because there will be no Beacon next week because Cord is going to be busy with Thanksgiving.
So potentially there's not a Beacon, but there might be more stabs.
For a little bit longer anyway.
Either more stabs or they're going to have the sales start on Wednesday or something like that to work on this. We'll see what they plan on doing.
I also like the fact that we've got shared storage. So yes, yay Mary Rose, yay for shared storage. Also, it's ironic that we have shared storage and vault storage, but we also have a coupon for more stabs. I think I know where we're storing the bodies. So
let's send it to our weekend gaming. And Calabathian, what were you up to?
Well, in LOTRO, I took my little stout axe burglar named Butty, Buttei. He is related to some other dwarves like Leggy and Nosy and Army. But took him.
I'm sorry. Is Nosy like a burglar that sneaks around?
Might be.
I don't know.
It's been a while since I've had any contact with these folks.
Calabathian, I don't know why, but I was almost expecting a much more sophisticated reason for Butty being the name than.
No. He's just there was a Nosy, an Army, and a Leggy, I think, and I was like, fine, I'm gonna be Buddy. I was running out of body parts, so I went with Buddy. But took him through some of Breeland in the academy. He hit level 15 towards the end, and so mushroom theft is going to be homework for him. So is dressing him because he needs work. Poor little stout axe. But I'm also kind of missing my mug since Bergs only get throwing knives to hurl at people, and it's like this just feels so bland now. I can throw this knife at someone.
Well, it doesn't have as much DPS, first of all.
Doesn't have as much entertainment value.
As somebody who used that to try to help DPS in the End of the Forsaken with just Sans and I on Bergs, trust me, it doesn't have a lot of DPS.
I guess
can't you at least cosmetically replace the dagger look with a pretzel?
I would think so.
Throwing pretzels would be. That sounds. That honestly sounds like a dwarven weapon.
If that would work, it would be great. But I don't know if it applies it on the skill. I think it's just on the equipped.
Man, I would love throwing pretzels. But yes. Also, by the way, LOTRO related. If anybody does have any questions about the fanfic, feel free to throw them in, and I will try to answer them if we get them. Because I've noticed there's been one or two comments like, I'm really digging this. And I'm like, hey, someone's actually reading it. But yeah, so I figured I'd throw that out there. Continuing on. Star Wars hijinks. My agent is running through Corellia with Terry's tune. And we're at the point now where I at least get to watch the irritations in my character's life start to bite it. That was extremely satisfying, watching one of them get cut down by a Jedi, which we then had to fight, but I'm just saying. Though I'd rather be the one shooting these guys than watching it, I'll take what I can get. Also, Star Wars related, my Sith sorcerer can't really get through a boss fight on Hoth. And my rage is infinite over this setback. I've tried over and over, and I can't quite get it. And yeah, rather than punch something or bite something, just grab my flat screen monitor and start biting on the edge because I'm in such a rage.
Calabathian, I think the irony of that, of course, is that your rage should be technically giving you more power.
I know, you would think, but I can't use it during battle, so, ESO. I've been doing a lot of ESO, mostly because it's the quest for dies. A lot of people like the story and the gameplay. I'm doing it for the dies. But it's continuing. I can't really complete the Cold Harbor quest until level 40. I'm at the very end on my levels, and right now I'm level 17. So it'll be a little bit. But once I get that, I get Cold Harbor Ash Black, and it's like, ooh, much easier and better apparently to get than the Void Black, which is like blackest black. But you literally have to do a bunch of stuff
isn't that like a vet dungeon you have to do?
Yeah, I think so. And I'm like, yeah, no. But Cold Harbor, apparently they lowered it, the very last thing where you actually fight a god and get your soul back. Because, as you do. But,
It's Thursday, you have pancakes.
I was to say, Calabathian, if you haven't done Fighters Guild and started the Mages Guild, might be a good way to level too. Or Sijic Order.
All of my tunes. And what about Sigil?
Sijic Order.
Oh, Sijic Order. I haven't gotten that one yet though. But yes, so I'm basically at the end of that whole thing, and they allowed you to actually do all the quests up to the boss battle one before level 20. And I'm like, yay. But this other one, I was reading what can I expect from this? And you apparently, when it first started, you had to be at least level 45 or 50, and they've dropped it to level 40. Last I saw of anyone talking about it. But I'm like, I'm going to be here a while. So yeah, I'm just
you can't handle a Daedric Prince.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, I'm not even level 20 yet, and I haven't gotten. You can't handle a Daedric Prince. You have to be this tall to
handle the Daedric Prince, even though he's so much more taller than you. Still,
yes. I am. Yeah, I remember going through that waiting period where I was doing quests all over the place as well, waiting for that quest to finally open up.
But in the meantime, while I'm kind of playing around, I do have other alts there that are in various places, and I've got a whole big list of dies to get that require certain achievements. So I'm going through those, and I'm going off to Arden with my High Elf Warden to do the Master Explorer achievement there. Come to find out, it looks a lot easier than I expected because you have to go through and do all the delves. All the delves in Oregon, or at least the area I'm in, are not group ones, and so I can solo them. Hooray! And then you have to go around and look at all the, not necessarily points of interest, but, you know, be the Pathfinder, Oregon Pathfinder, for a section of it. So I might actually be able to get that one. Hooray! But yeah, so that's kind of how I'm what I'm doing there. But those are my 3 that I did in and around, asking for an extra day for my homework this past week. And one of my 2 professors, because there was someone passed on, and one of my professors was like, "Sure, I'll give you till Wednesday," and the other one was like, "Well, you're not actually part of the family, and is there an internet cafe you can go to or something? Because you really need to get it done, and I'm concerned because I'm afraid you'll be behind. It's your last thing." Yeah. Crickets chirp. Anyway, Krister, how about you? How was your week?
Well, I think I was doing what most people were doing, which was kind of fumbling through Gundabad. Probably, I'm guessing you guys are probably a lot more efficient than I am, because I first went in with some kinmates, and so we did a lot of killing of things that I later went back and got quests for, and wish I'd had the quest for initially when I killed all the stuff. But other than my inefficient way of doing it, I've really liked Gundabad so far, and it's very bright. I really enjoy that. The staff, the dwarves here feel very courteous, and I've noticed a distinct lack of drunkenness in the stable mounts, which is a refreshing change from Moria. So, I'm very happy with this so far. So I'm looking forward to finding out more and more as I go through.
Yes, they were saying. Yes, the producers were telling how much that one of the goals that they had was to make sure that the mounts were a little bit more
stable.
Stable.
Oh, Krister. Jeez. Quester. Hey, Quester. But when you say filled with light, on a scale of Moria to Minas Morgul, what do you mean by filled with light?
Well, I just what struck me is I really liked. I don't. Of course, I'm not understanding if these are like skylights or they're just big giant mirrors up on the ceiling. But it's just the general ambience is brighter than. So this would be like brighter than Moria is, I guess, what I would be getting at. And so,
but
since it's
not as migraine inducing as Minas Morgul.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that you can see everything. There's these wide open spaces. I'm really liking the open feel of it. And then everybody or people that have been going through it at a much quicker pace were telling me that it's massive too. So there's a lot more to see as well. So I'm looking forward to the journey here. It's been fun so far. And since I'm one of the suckers that bought the Ultimate Pack, I can't wait to get my extra Valar, but I demand they give me a horse Valar so I don't have to go through any more horse grants. I'm sick of it. I don't want my horse to level up in front of other people that are high level because it's embarrassing, okay?
Oh, see, there's a way to avoid that, and that is to use your regular mount instead, right?
Why would I ever go back? Okay, so if you ever saw the 13th Warrior Pine Leaf, the Vikings make fun of the Arabian horse, and they refer to it as a little dog. And now that is how I view regular mounts. Why would I get off my giant, impressive war steed to ride a tiny little dog? I wouldn't.
The little dog is Krister.
La 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 la! I can't hear you.
You're going to be in Gundabad. You can't ride a war steed anyway.
I know. I'm pretty ticked off about that. I should be hurling off some cliff in Gundabad at least.
Well, you can if you want. If you're going to, please let me know. I'd like to watch.
So another thing that was kind of funny was, that's why I thought it was funny when you mentioned this too, Pineleaf, was the level cap for the allies. And people were really grumbling about, oh, thanks, guys. Yeah. We get it up to level 140, but all the magic happens at 141. So that's like, oh, yeah, it's going to do all this stuff. It's great. Oh, I'm telling you, you need to unlock the special feature. So everybody was like, great. So now we just got to wait till the level cap rises. So I'm assuming, like you were talking about, is when they start adding everything in, everybody will start grumbling less and less, I think.
Yeah, because right now you don't need you don't need 499 LIs to go against the landscape. So I think that's the idea, is that, just like the regular gear has the eye level go up as you go along.
No, you don't need it, but it would be spectacular to have it and watch it cleave like butter through everything.
Oh, it cleaved like butter through my scabbard again.
Right, and then they'll say that then they'll all complain that Goonabot's too easy. Then they'll make it so hard that it's impossible for me to get through it. Right.
And I don't know if you guys have been feeling it, but it's almost like a tingle. It's almost like, winter, you can feel that, just maybe the calm before the winter storm or something. But right now, somewhere in this Shire, there is a hobbit putting on his coat. He's prim and proper. He's got a great haircut. He looks great. He knows what he's doing. He's successful. He's a great hobbit. But within, I don't know, a month, we're going to see him arrive at the Winterfest. And he is going to drink. And that's a mistake, because once he has one, he has two. And once he has two, he has 750. And then he passes out flat on his face in a pool of his vomit. And he is my favorite hobbit in the entire game. And so I'm looking forward to Winterfest and seeing my favorite friend, the drunk, passed out hobbit. And then external. I wish you know what, they should name him. There is no name. I don't even think you can click on it. I think it's just part of the landscape, which is kind of insulting. I mean, he's there every year. But then my favorite non-LOTRO activity this week was building killbots in Starship Evo. So that was my non-LOTRO activity. Guer, what did you get up to?
Oh, Gundabad. Did I mention Gundabad? We've actually been fairly completionist. There is a quest in the Steep Set to start restoring the throne there, and have even gone so far as to find you have to complete the Slayer deeds, the questing deeds, and what was the third one? Anyway, you have to complete the basically all three of the deeds there in, say, Madogard, and then they give you the quest to go find a stone that gets put onto the throne. And I spent so much time. Huge shout outs to the one of the LOTRO discords that I'm in. Somebody who I know from Stina's Discord and stream actually was the one that posted how to get to it. It drove me crazy. We went round and round the building. I dodged the groups of raids, the raid leader and the 3 or 4 buddies that he would have. There's one area where there's like 2 sets of them that happens to be the area that you end up having to go right through. Yeah, but I kept dodging around them, trying to get around this building, trying to figure out a way up. And it's the most vertiginous climb to get up that. I don't like heights. I don't do heights very well. But when you get up on top, it's gorgeous. There's no mobs. And the view is spectacular. So definitely something to look forward to after everybody's got all that questing done. That being said, still haven't got Deep's Grave done. But please put trolls into a mission in Deepsgrave so that I don't have to keep going through that same camp over and over again just to get umpty gajillion trolls for the Slayer deed. Thank you. That being said, loving the new expansion, loving Gundabad. So I wasn't here last week, didn't get to give my first impressions. Even got curious and went to Angmar and made it to the, around the rift and found my way in that way, just for the fun of it. And then found some really interesting mobs, because that's the end of the zones. So yeah, that was kind of fun. It was an adventure in and of itself, but a lot of fun. Spent most of the week, I think, really digging in Gundabad, the captain and Guerre did. But the burden of trying to be completionist, I looked and I really, really, really want the Wildwood meta deed horse. And we needed the Slayer deeds. And yeah, so I drugged the captain, possibly mildly kicking and screaming inside, and got that started. But I may still keep pushing on that one. I want to get it done. My brawler today became a trouble seeker. She dinged level 30 and went up to the North Downs and helped out. Bill Fernie continues to be a very evil person. Enough said. Yeah. Can't wait until we deal with him later. In ESO, I'm still in Shadowfen with the shiny duo. Dear Lord, get me out of this swamp. Been in it so long. We're getting closer to the end of it. We had a really concerted effort the other day, the pair of us, and got from the north part of the zone down around the east, and we're kind of heading to the west. We're getting closer to getting it done. I'm ready to move on to East March. I don't care if it's really snowy, and the last thing I want to think about is winter right now, because the light has gone away and the world has turned cold. I still am looking forward to getting to East March so I can get out of that swamp. Anyway, Pine Leaf, what did you get up to this week?
I'll begin with my Krikala Warden, who was questing in Gundabad. And it all started after getting in and all that stuff. At one point, I was battling these level 132 mobs, and I was trying to figure out why I wasn't very efficient in killing them. I know, I'm Pine Leaf, but not being very efficient in killing them is my trademark. But regardless of that, I still thought things weren't going too well, and eventually, when I came to a point where it was unavoidable for me to not fight 3 beasts at a time, where I was completely killed, I was thinking, all right, maybe I have to rethink this for a moment. All right, first of all, I was 130. Okay, so perhaps the fact that I was 130 meant that things weren't going quite. So I decided to run a few skirmishes so I could get to 131. Since maybe there's enough of a power boost when I get to 131 that I'll be able to be much stronger and be able to more go toe-to-toe with them. So I reach level 131, and I go to reforge my items. This level 131 is a reforged level, and that's when I discover that I was still using old LIs on this character. Now, you would think that with all those other characters I had that went to the new LIs, that my main character, I would have thought of updating the LIs for this character, but for some reason I did twice, I think, upgrade my LIs on that character on Bull Roarer. I had yet to do it on live. So that, of course, solved that little mystery. So I got to 131, then I, of course, went to Rivendell, since I didn't. So I spent all my script at Rivendell, not getting level the 13 stuff, but getting the tier 14 stuff, since I just qualified for that. So I got what I needed to do, so I got my character in operational order. And so now I am doing much better at what I'm fighting in Gundabad. Now I'm at level 132. So things are much better on that matter. Now, I also decided that if I'm going to be in Gundabad, I should also get some food. Now, in case you haven't heard, the primary food in Gundabad is fish fillets, which means at first I had to get some fish to fillet. So I decided, all right, let's go to Little Delving. And I found out, all right, going to a low-B zone in order to catch food fish is not a good idea because you're not going to catch much of it. All right. So I thought, let's go to Belfalis. And then I started to rake in the fish at that point. And I was getting at a very good rate, so I managed to eventually get enough fish in which to cook. Now, when I tried going to Belfalis with my Langerville warden later on, that's when I discovered that, it seems not only be dependent on where you're at, but also on your level of fishing. And apparently my level 180 in fishing version of Pine Leaf on Creek Hollow had no trouble getting food fish from Belfalis, but my Langerville one, no, that wasn't working in the slightest. I eventually wound up going into Mirkwood right along the Anduin, and that's where I decided to do my fishing in order to get the food fish I want on there. So I am now being able to cook some nice fish and have that all set up on there.
As a dork who was actually going for more fish this week, can I make 2 suggestions?
Yeah.
If you're high enough level, go to Dale and go down to Lake Town. You can pull not only if you haven't done the Lake Master anyway. If you haven't done Lake Master already, go down there because you're not only getting your Lake Master deed done, you're pulling in trout because the off fish instead of being like the other trash fish is the trout that you can use. Or if you want both green fish and trout, go to Rivendell.
Go to Rivendell because you know what happens to the lake in Lake Town.
Oh, actually,
well, if you sit on the north edge of it, the water's running to the south. And no, anyway,
yeah. Actually, I was yes. I was trying around. I did try Rivendell, and Rivendell did not help me at all.
I wonder if it was your level.
Yeah, it might have been my level that could have been involved in
Tinadir? Tinadir's another good place there by the ranger camp.
Sam mentions Forakel is probably one of the best zones to fish, he thinks. But he's just
anyway, I found, as I said, I have to decide for each of my characters which are the best ones, but it sounds like so far that for one character the best place is Belfalis. Maybe I could take that one to Dale because that one should be also good enough in order to fish at Dale. And the other one is doing it at the Anduin, and I suspect that going to because I tried Belfalis with that character, and Belfalis says, nope.
By the way, you can also fish inside Felagoth. Just I mean,
well,
hey.
Yeah, there is that possible. Anyway, I am trying to figure out the best way of handling that particular matter. And let's see. And what next? Okay, it's my mid-level warden. Where my mid-level warden, I completed all of the Gundabad missions. My warden, I started doing the missions there at level 55. I put on the Tortoise Stone when I hit 61. So now I have the title for completing all of the Gundabad missions in there, right? And I did that in the minimum amount time period, meaning at the end of the 6th day, because it's impossible to complete that before the sixth day due to the way the mission cycle operates. Now this is the same character that decided to check to find out was it possible to get Slade Runner at level 20, which was doing all of the missions for Elder Slade. So this character is the one that has done all of the missions over time because I did at 45. This is one that that was my first character to run through the Wildwood And so I got to 45, did that. So I've done all the missions there, done all the missions everywhere on this particular character. My favorite mission character for a specialty mission character. And my honor warden, who headed into the Lonely Mountain to learn about the Weeping Warrior. And I also had a thing where we're looking to make sure that the Arkenstone was present and all of that. It's this time where I found out that if you want to unlock the layer Rust and Rhyme, I need to go back and do some quests for the elves over at the Raft Elves and do some things for them. So I'm trying to do some stuff for them and before I continue on there so that maybe I could do the layer Rust and Rhyme. And finally, on Friday Night Fights, my Langerful Brawler decided to join in a group of 6 where we went into the 16th hall and where we learned why we don't do the 16th hall all that often. But we did manage to finish it. And you would think it wouldn't be all that difficult considering that the lowest character was myself at 61 and that was a level 58 instance. But no, the 16th hall is full of nastiness. Probably because it was designed for people who are probably level 60 is probably what it was designed for. But level 60, when level 60 was the level cap, which means that people don't have the regular level 60 armor, but probably have all that gear, that the acid resistant gear that you had in Moria back in those days, and all that extra powerful gear that you can get when you are at the high level, when you're at the same level cap for a long time. Because yes, normal gear level 60, boy, 16th hall can get brutal. I've got the impression on that. And that concludes my week in LOTRO. Now, in the Beacon, they mentioned that we had a post on Minas Ithil, the Tower of the Moon, which is one of the pieces put out by Darren Loremaster. Fair Minas Ithil, Tower of the Moon, was beautiful as paradise. Yet soon it fell to evil when the Nazgul came to seize the citadel with sword and flame to take it for themselves. Then what a change the Nazgul worked to malform and arrange Minas Ithil to purposes as fell and evil as the minds now came to dwell within it. Minas Ithil was renamed to Minas Morgul. What was fair is shamed and warped into vile usage as the power of sorceries corrupt the ancient tower into its present state. A nameless fear falls upon all those who dare to venture near the city where the Nazgul roam the night to slay or capture passing elf or white for blood sport, to interrogate, torment within the dark prisons there. With bodies pent in dungeons dark, they die in agony. So thus did Minas Morgul come to be. But of course, what is the story of Minas Morgul without its counterpart, Minas Arnor? And that is the other poem posted by Darren Loremaster, and that is, let's see, okay, yes, and that is Minas Arnor, and this one goes as follows. Once Minas Arnor, Tower of the Sun, now Minas Tirith, Tower of Guard, the one place left in Gondor as the others fall into darkness. Is your white stone wall still strong enough for the Dark Lord to resist? Your defenses of 7 walls consist with well-trained soldiers, faithful Gondor men prepare to fight and die. Alas, so then must Minas Tirith soon become a tomb? Her steward's wisdom long avoid the doom that Sauron's malice scheme deep in Mordor. They know for certainty there will be war. Osgiliath is broken. Eldathil held by the strong foes who only wish her ill, resolved to destroy Gondor, now alone. The one bastion of remaining. Weaker grown, she has no strength to stem the rising tide of Mordor's arms ready to march. To ride and burn and pillage, harass and destroy both elves and men in diabolic joy. To ravage, wreck, and waste, until the night covers all Midgard, extinguishing light. Yet not while Minas Tirith stands to guard the free peoples. She'll face the future hard and choices stark while readying for war. This is the eminence of great Gondor. So, Minas Arnor and Minas Ithil both. Our top supporter this month is LOTROBuild.com. LOTROBuild.com is a collection of full LOTRO databases that includes an items database, a relics database, and a titles database. Also, you can use it right from Discord server with LOTROBuild bot. We currently have 16 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, you could go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like sent one, you can send it to podcast@lotroplayers.com. You can also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lotro Players at Lotro Players, Arendis at Arendis, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, Sanswinda at Sanswinda, Terryadwin at Terryadwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, and Calabathian at Calabathian. And Christopher, what are you doing this week?
Oh, you know.
Avoiding Twitter, apparently.
Avoiding contact, yes.
Yeah, avoiding contact. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. US Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. US Eastern Time. We have LOTRO Players News. You can switch for our shows at LOTROPlayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.